Warning for flashing an ice train. I had to speed up the footage of this video quite a lot because animating in Paint is slow. When I did the challenge in which I made an AMV with a mouse, I knew that I would be able to do it because I had animated using a mouse for years before obtaining a drawing tablet. I knew that it was possible. But this time it's a little different because I have actually never animated in Paint because even back in the day when I tried it, I decided that it was too difficult. I had to start from the very basics.
Wow. Wait, that's not how my Paint looks like. My Paint looks different. Wow. This is not helpful. I should consult a professional, but I don't know any professional Paint animators, so yep, guess I'll just have to do this on my own.
With time and effort, I managed to figure out the program and make the AMV. So, can I now say that I have mastered Windows Paint and that this is a totally good program to use when you get used to it? No. So there's a way that you can erase a certain color in Paint, but it only works sometimes for whatever reason. Anyways. Okay, YouTube is... This is fun. This is totally not stressful at all. Could you feel the correcting? I could have taken the easy route and drawn warrior cats, but I always draw warrior cats, so I decided to use an AMV idea that I have had for a few years now, made from Night in the Woods to the song Ghost by the Mystery Skulls. So instead of drawing cats, I drew furry cats. I am still not super experienced with drawing poses for things that stand on two legs, so I had to take a lot of picture references of myself. It's a lot of fun opening your gallery to show some picture to someone, and then your gallery is just full of really bizarre reference images that you forgot to delete and that are hard to explain. For the baseball bat shots in particular, I had to take a lot of reference pictures, but I don't own a baseball bat. So instead I would just have these images of me menacingly holding a toothbrush. The lack of references for the baseball bat itself meant that the baseball bat I drew would sometimes look like a baseball bat, and sometimes it wouldn't. Anyways, Paint. So possibly the worst thing about Paint is that there are no layers, and I happen to really like having lots and lots of layers. The lack of layers means that in order for you to be able to see frames you have previously drawn, which is kind of important when you're animating, you have to color them in some color other than your line art, and then draw the line art on top of the same layer, and then color everything with the color you used to color the previous drawn frame, and then color that with white. All of that is an extra step that you just wouldn't have to do when animating in a program that has layers. There are a couple of slightly different methods that you can use when animating in Paint. You could just draw the frames of a shot in order, so start with the first frame, save as its own picture, do the next one, save as its own picture, and so on and so forth until you have drawn all the frames for your shot. Some people animate like this a lot of the time, even when not animating in Windows Paint. I pretty much never do. Because I have trouble with maintaining consistency. So to illustrate that, here's a really old animation by me that I did in the way that I just described, just drawing the frames chronologically. But I ended up making the head of the character smaller with every frame, and then noticed it, and just tried to fix my mistake by suddenly making the head bigger again, as if that would solve any of my problems. So in order to normally maintain consistency, instead of drawing the frames one by one chronologically, I draw keyframes. So I first draw the positions that I want the character to visit throughout the shot while having a lot of information on my screen, like references and frames that I've previously drawn, so that I end up drawing the frames roughly the same way. Then I draw the frames between the keyframes while being able to see the keyframes. You technically could still do that in Paint by sketching all the frames you want to draw in advance, but I only ended up doing that once. This shot was a nightmare. While this animation is probably one of my favorite ones from this AMV, it was absolutely terrible to draw, because I had so many sketches visible that I had separated by color. That meant that removing those sketches to save each completed frame would take me longer than drawing the actual frame. So, yeah. I never did that again. I'll much rather take the lack of consistency. And there's such a lack of consistency here, even between the different shots. At some point I started drawing the symbol on May's shirt the wrong way, and I only noticed that when I was coloring the last shot. That's not necessarily a paint problem, that's just me being careless problem, but normally, you know, I would have the reference visible at all times on a different layer, which I didn't have. When you don't make keyframes, you kind of need to have the entire animation that you're making just planned out, because you're going in blind. Now, I do have some sort of an intuition regarding where I should put the frames and what I should draw and where, because I have been doing this for a while, but it was still sort of like going in blind each time. I would animate something, sometimes it would work out fine and sometimes it wouldn't. But at that point, I would have made too big a commitment to that animation already to just start over, so I would maybe try to tweak the animation a little and then just use it anyways. Another problem that comes with having no layers or transparency is that the backgrounds become a bit tricky. So I kind of cheated. Well, I mean, I only ever said that I would animate in Paint. I never said that I'm not allowed to use my editing program to my advantage. So a lot of the time I would make the background green or red and then just remove it in my program green screen style to make the frames have transparent backgrounds. This, however, didn't come without its problems. May is a very colorful character. She has yellow eyes, a red shirt and dark blue fur, which for me meant that pretty much any time that I would use green screen on her, it would end up changing one of the colors. So one time I actually had the background on the image file and just redrew a portion of it every single time, which I think turned out pretty good. And sometimes I would just have a flat color as the background. In the astral sections of this AMV, May's shirt is blue, so I could use red screen as much as I wanted without any consequences. I ended up shortening the song quite a bit. I mean, I was already originally going to shorten it just to the first verse and one chorus, but towards the end of making the AMV, I decided that nope, I'm not animating the whole first verse. So now the song that's called Ghost doesn't even have the word ghost appearing in it anymore. Without further ado, here's the AMV.
This time I might just disappear. This time I might just disappear.
I used a cover version by the artist Oreo or Trio. Link in description for this video. I'm going to upload the AMV with the actual song a little later, as usual. I was really lucky that this song in particular had a lot of really amazing cover songs, so that I can make these videos in which I discuss the challenge itself without having YouTube take all my money. This challenge was pure suffering, which I brought upon myself. I keep doing this, not sure why. I already had respect for the people who managed to make AMVs in Paint before doing this challenge, and now I have so much more, because I am never touching this program again. All it's good for is making grade school modern art. Use Fire Alpaca. Not sponsored. Bye.